Hello everybody and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Let's get straight into it. Boosh. And first up, there's only 10 days to go now until the start of the season. Can't help thinking the bubble's going to burst at some point. I just can't see us getting through. It's like we're on a knife edge. If everybody does what they're told and everybody is as clean as possible, washes their hands, wears their mask when they need to, potentially we might get through this season unscathed. But it's only going to take one or two tests and it could just all implode. Now, the UCI are about to make their final decision on stopping a race if a COVID-19 case emerges within a team. So last month, the UCI announced its coronavirus medical protocol, trying to keep riders and staff as safe as possible during events. Let's take a look at a few of those key features that make up that protocol. And first up, the riders are going to be tested twice, both a nose swab and a throat swab, both 6 and 3 days prior to an event. If a rider from that race then goes on to another one-day race, they have to undergo another test 10 days after their last test. And if 14 days or more separate two one-day races on a rider's schedule, the protocol starts again with both that 6-day and that 3-day test before the second race. It stays the same for a stage race. Rider has to be tested twice, both the 6-day and the 3-day protocols, even if they've been cleared to race in the previous 2 weeks. As well as these tests, all riders and staff members must complete medical questionnaires on a daily basis 5 days prior to any race. And then during the races, on the morning of a one-day race, a rider must report symptoms. If they're in a stage race, they have to report those symptoms both morning and evening of each day of that stage race. Obviously, social distancing measures are going to be imposed and special accommodation rules are going to exist within those hotels. And the start and the finish and the podium ceremonies will all be adapted to adhere to social distancing. And then the UCI are also taking responsibility for a special anti-doping protocol. Now, the 3 Grand Tours are the only places where testing for coronavirus during the race will take place, and the chances are they're going to be done on the rest days, and there's likely to be mobile testing facilities to ensure that all teams are getting tested throughout that time. But my biggest worry is what happens if a team member or a rider tests positive for COVID-19 during a stage race or one of the Grand Tours. What's going to happen? Because we look back to February, March time when it was the United Arab Emirates Tour. 2 staff members tested positive there, then a handful of riders tested positive. A lot of people were on lockdown between like 14 and some people were there, a month, 2 months later, just on lockdown in quarantine. So what's going to happen this time? Do we have enough procedures in place to be able to contain it? I personally don't think that they can. Hopefully we know enough about it now. We know the precautions we need to take. But ultimately, something like cycling is such a dynamic sport. It starts in one place, it moves through the countryside and ends in another place. And within that, you've got riders at various different hotels all congregating into one place. Then they all split off at the end and go to their various different hotels. And then after that, you've got riders going to different races, some going to different countries to race. Fingers crossed, it'll all be fine and every eventuality has been taken into consideration. But it just takes 1 or 2 riders to either not talk about the symptoms quick enough or a test to be... Well, they mustn't... Listen, I'm no doctor. I ain't no professional. They obviously know what they're doing and they feel that it's safe enough to go and race, that they can contain any positive tests and hopefully maintain a race. But what is going to happen if a rider tests positive during a race? According to the UCI, in the event of a confirmed case of COVID-19 occurring within a team, riders or team members, a group will be set up made of a member representing teams, runners, the organiser, UCI, team doctors and the COVID doctor for the event. This group will collect all the information relating to the event and transmit it to the UCI. The UCI, after consulting the organisers and the national authorities, will take the decision appropriate to the situation. But let me know your thoughts on this one. We've spoke about it so many times already in the past, but as we get closer, do we think that the season's getting further away and it's just going to be taken away from us at the last minute? Or do you think with these protocols in place, we could actually see, dare I say it, a full race season condensed into these next 3 months? Who knows? Next up, and talking about the start of the season, obviously the first race of the year is going to be the Strada Bianchi for both the men and the women. And to celebrate the start of the season and to hopefully raise much needed funds, Moviestar have just unveiled this brand new one-off kit. Look at that. That is better than their actual kit for this year. This design came from Italian artist Loris Gobi. He was a member of the Italian national track team and he was a Seiko youth rider back in the early 2000s. I like this idea. I think it's awesome. I think teams should do this more often, whether it's to raise awareness for a cause or to raise money for charity, or they're just simply celebrating something special within the team or worldwide at the minute. I think it's cool. If you think back to 2018 at the Tour de France, obviously we saw Team Sky with their Sky Ocean Rescue jerseys, and again, bringing awareness to a cause that needed awareness bringing to it. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I think this kit should be here to stay for the rest of the season and not just a one-off at the Strada Bianchi. What do you think? Next up in tech news, it's not a feature, we've just got some tech news. Look at this. This is the brand new turbo trainer from Orica. Now, if you've watched the channel for a while now, you'll know that back in the past that I did a quick review. It wasn't a full in-depth review of Orica's treadmill smart trainer. This is their first attempt at a brand new compact turbo trainer. It requires no mains electricity. You essentially are the power source for the turbo trainer. Orica also state that this trainer provides dynamic freedom of movement and a reduction of muscle overload and injuries due to spending hours in a static position. Thanks to this turbo trainer being top hung from the base on a pivot, and then these side arms here, they support it with air suspension, allowing the rider to get a bit of free lateral movement from side to side, making it more. Looking at this picture, it looks relatively more mobile than than the previous bike mill that Orica launched. It's got collapsible legs, it's clearly got wheels there, and they claim it's around 30 kilos. So it's not going to be too hard to actually move that around, but it is bulky. In a world where everything's getting smaller and more compact, well, I suppose this is a lot more mobile, a lot more compact than their bike treadmill that they brought out a few years ago. But still, it still looks like a bulky unit. It doesn't look like it's as easy to maneuver as, you know, a Kicker or a Neo, and that's going to take up a lot of real estate in a room which a lot of people pack up their kit after they've finished. Like with a Kicker, it doesn't take up too much space. Once the bike's off it, it doesn't matter if it's folded up or not, it takes up very little space and it's very mobile. A nice handle, simply put it away. Same with the Neo, but with this, it's got bloody wheels, so you know it's going to be heavy. And the amount of space it takes up when it is fully extended is still quite extreme. So I don't know. It'd be nice to test it. It'd be nice to see how it rides, especially with that dynamic movement from side to side. And you can adjust that suspension, so you can adjust it to your riding style and your weight. If you want it to move a little more, then you can adjust it. If you want it to be a little bit stiffer, then you can do that as well. So there's some nice touches in this, and the fact that it requires no mains is a huge plus for a lot of people. But how good is it actually going to ride? How is it going to sound? How reliable is it going to be? Hey, who knows? But hopefully we can find out at some point. But it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it. What do you think to this new Orica compact turbo trainer? And then finally in today's show, let's talk YouTube / cycling news with our friend Cameron Jeffers. Boy's exploding at the minute. His views are going through the bloody roof. But what has he been up to in the past couple of days? Because over on his Instagram, he posted this picture of his recent Strava ride. He's tagged Strava in it. It's down in London, and he's done 112.68 miles, 3,135 feet of climbing in a tiny park by the looks of it. And the description of the ride is simply Is that a sex face emoji? I don't know. Now, I know Cameron's channel has evolved over the past couple of years. We've seen him going from cycling vlogs to more adventures and challenges over on his channel. This clearly is a challenge of some sort, but what challenge is this? Is it some sort of Strava challenge that people do when they just ride around in circles for as long as they can? I mean, this or Everesting, I don't know which one I'd rather do. I mean, I'd rather do neither of them, but riding around 112 miles, my attention span goes after one lap of the velodrome. So God knows how he managed to do this, but I'm really interested in finding out what the hell he has been doing in London, riding around in circles. If you've got any idea on this one and you can shed some light on it, then leave your comments down below. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you've disliked this video for whatever reason, please hit that dislike button and let me know in the comments down below. As ever, do all those nice things, and I'll see you again soon.